Let's go to the stats box. So here we want to replace our pseudo values with the real values, and because shared preferences will take a moment to retrieve those values from our device, we can use a FutureBuilder to await those values. I'll wrap this row in a FutureBuilder, replace this child with a builder. Here we have a context and a snapshot. I'll replace that with a block body. Okay, so we now have our FutureBuilder. First thing we should do is set our future. And the future we're waiting on is this getStats, which returns a future of list of string. So hence we've created our own method here that returns a future. Back in the stats box, we'll write that in, getStats. So when we get the data from the future, this builder will run, and we can access this data through the snapshot. So here we can write if snapshot.hasData. In that case, we can assign the data. Now what we could do is access the data down here by using snapshot.data and also initializing our data using initial data, but that may cause a null error if we clear all the data and restart the app. So just to be safe, I'm going to create a local variable that's already initialized with some data and then assign our snapshot data to that variable. So I'll create a list of string. I'll call this results, and I'll initialize this with 5 zeros. Now here we can go results is equal to snapshot.data, and here we have an error, so we can cast this explicitly as a list of string. So now once the future returns with some data, this builder method will run and will assign this variable with that data by using snapshot.data. Now we can update these values. So firstly, results, and we want to get this at the first index because games played was the first item in this list. Now we need to pass in an int, so let's pass this. Okay, and now we can copy this and paste it down here. And our win percentage is actually the third item in our list. The games played we do not need to show. So we now have our FutureBuilder, which will rebuild once we get the data from the future that we're awaiting. We'll store that in a variable and then pass that in to our stats tiles. So let's see how this looks. Hot restart. Let's win a game. Okay, awesome. So we have played 100%. Our formatting's a little bit off, so we'll fix that in a moment. Let's replay. Cool. So this is updated. Now we can see a slight little problem. The grid tiles aren't showing until we key in a letter, so we'll fix that in a moment. Let's try one more time. Now let's restart the app. Let's lose a game. Okay, awesome. So played 4, our win percentage is 75%, and our current streak has been broken, and our max streak was 3. Okay, awesome. So we have this working. Now let's fix up the font here. So in our stats tile, let's change that font to 40 and update the padding so it's a lot smaller. And also the fitted box, we'll change this fit to boxfit.scale down. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so that looks a lot better. Now back in the stats box, let's also enable so we can close this. So here on the on pressed, we'll pop off this alert dialog, so we can write navigator.maybepop, which will basically pop it off if we're able to. Okay, cool. So now when we press that X, we'll be able to pop off that box. Now let's fix the problem with the border color. Let's go to tile. So up here, our color is transparent, So the grid tiles are actually showing, but they're showing as transparent. We're updating our border theme, but because this is called in a callback, our build method has already updated with transparent, so we need to refresh this. We could call setState here, but another way to do that would be to use the didChange dependencies, which will run right after setState runs, and at that point in time we will have a build context, so we can just cut this and paste it in here. Okay, so that'll fix that problem. Now let's also create a way to reset these stats. So let's do that in the settings. I'll go to settings, and under the switch list tile, let's create a list tile. And here in the list tile widget, we have a leading property. So let's set a text. We'll name this reset. And here we can use shared preferences to clear our stats. So again, we need to get an instance of shared preferences. We will store this in a variable. Make this an asynchronous method by adding the async keyword here. We have clear, but that will clear everything, including our theme preferences. So let's use remove and type in our key, which is stats. Also, let's create a quick pop-up box that says stats cleared. So that's nice and easy. We can use show dialog and just return a short alert dialog. We can just put directly in here. We'll have a text for the title. And here we need to add in the context, and then we'll point to alert dialog. Let's center that title. Okay, so now let's look at our settings. We now have a reset button. Press that, statistics cleared. Cool. So if we check our stats now, it's all back to 0, and we can close that box. And finally, let's also update these folders here. So I'm going to update the theme folder, refactor, rename, and I'll name this utils. So this will hold our methods that we're using in the app, and also just any other miscellaneous bits and pieces. Now I just need to update in our project. And I will move themes into our constants. In the next video, to complete the stats box, we'll start building a horizontal bar chart.